Yo, it's me, it's the SCOTT baby, and this time I'm going to review Double Team starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dennis Rodman, Mickey Rourke, and is directed by Sue Hawk. Alright. This movie, wow. When I started watching this, I just thought it was okay. I mean, you know me, I love me some Jean-Claude Van Damme, alright? But going into this and watching this, I was just like, okay. It seemed like I was gonna check this, and I never got a chance to. Hold on. I wanna check it. Alright, I grabbed my DVD copy of Face Off, which I already reviewed. You should go check that one out. Let's see. Came out 1997. Same year! Why am I comparing this? Well, if you've seen this, you know one thing. Okay, so it's a little bit opposite, but so we start off the film with Jean-Claude Van Damme doing some mission, and it cut to, what was it, a year later or something, or 5 years later, something like that. And now he's got a wife, she's pregnant, and he's brought back in to take down this guy named Stavros, played by Mickey Rourke. And when they go to do this operation, Mickey Rourke's character, Stavros, has a son. And during this operation, the son gets killed. That sounds familiar. It's because it happened in a sort of opposite way with Face Off. It was the good guy's son that got killed by the bad guy, a mustachioed Nicolas Cage. But yeah, and that sends him on a revenge quest. So this revenge quest takes shooting, and he and he ends up, quote unquote, killing Van Damme, whose character is Jack Quinn. And so he's presumed dead, but he wakes up on this island where apparently, if you're supposedly dead in an operation, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, you get sent there. So, I thought of this. My question for watching this was, because Rourke sends him, or Stavros sends him a sort of message, it's a tattoo or something that says, "I have your butterfly," which is his wife and his unborn child. And I thought, how does he know he's still alive? Well, I thought about this just talking to you about this movie. They tell him that Stavros is still alive because he was presumed dead, but Stavros is still alive, and they have to take him out for good. My idea here is they don't really go to explain it, really, but my idea was that Rourke was on the island and escaped. That's how he got... Because, they say you have to stay on the island once this happened. But the only thing I can think of, how Rourke knew he was alive, even though he supposedly killed him, was that he also escaped from the island. They never say anything about it. They never mention how he knew that Van Damme was still alive. He just does. So, Van Damme comes up with this plan to get out of there. So he does this test where he lights a cigarette, and he has to try to breathe underwater. He has a line where the filter ends on the cigarette, and he has to hold it till he gets there. It takes him a few tries, but he gets that. He sets up this, he conditions himself, and he does this crazy ass stunt because there's this lasers on the ocean, in the ocean water, so they can't escape. It will sizzle you right away. And there's this watch that tells you have to do something, and you have to, whenever there's a cargo landing, cargo, stuff like that, they have to verify that they're there by putting their fingerprint, their thumbprint on a thing. So Van Damme devises this thing. cutting off his thumbprint, which he doesn't even do the whole thing. He just does that right here, wraps it up, and then he sets up this device that will fill the water and then knock it into the plate. Yeah, that works. And then he waits until the cargo is taken and the lasers are off. Jumps in, he takes the watch off, jumps in the water. He tries to attack. There's someone underneath the water that tries to stop him, but he takes care of that guy. And when lasers come back on, that guy gets killed anyway. And how is that guy in the water? I don't know. But he gets on the cargo thing as the plane takes it. He flies up, and then he has to go up. And what I like is he's not just kicking people out of the plane. He's a good guy. He's not just. These aren't bad people that he's taking the plane from. So he grabs one of the guys and he asks, "Do you have a parachute?" The guy goes, "Yeah." So he kicks the guy out because he has a parachute. So he's throwing these guys out. They all have parachutes. Or he probably would have found some other way to deal with them. Maybe. Like, "Do you have a parachute?" "Yeah." Kick him out. And he holds the pilots up at gunpoint, and it takes him away. Now, something you're wondering is when did Dennis Rodman come into this? Well, this is 45 minutes into the goddamn film, and we still have had no Dennis Rodman, despite the fact that he's on the cover. Well, now we meet Dennis Rodman, who's in a piercing parlor, and he's got all the weapons. That's why he goes to him. And he buys some weapons, and he breaks into the compound in France, which is where he lives. And it turns out that it was a trap, because for some reason, Stavros knew he was going to go there, so that blew up. And then, so he has to reconnect with Rodman again to get... No, wait. Maybe I'm thinking it wrong. No, because this was... I'm trying to think. Because Rodman wasn't shown until 47 minutes in. And he gets it there. But Rodman is there at the house, isn't he? Yeah, so what went wrong here? He gets I watched the damn thing. Oh, I know. No, that's a different one. So maybe that is I don't know. It's a thing with a plane and a basketball-like parachute thingy, but I swear that was after. So what prompted him to go back? Because he goes to that Rodman, he gets the weapons. Maybe he doesn't get the weapons yet. Maybe he doesn't go back twice. Maybe it's only this one. I just watched it and I can't remember. But they end up going, he gets the weapons. He does something that doesn't work. He recruits him to help him, and he's like, "I don't fly. This has to be it." But he says, "I have 3 CIA bank account numbers. I will give you the access codes if you help me." And then they're at this hotel, and he gets this, they go to the thing, and they do like I said, the house explodes, blow up. The weird thing about this is there's no parachutes. So they both jump out, and when they land, it's the shape of a basketball. It's a big basketball that they land in, which probably wouldn't actually help them. Wouldn't save them. They'd probably be liquefied by then. But he, they go to Rome. For some reason, they figure out how to go to Rome. They're told to go to Rome or something. Oh, it's a car. Jack finds a car that tells him to go to Rome, but not to use a car because it's rigged. And he and Robin go to Rome, and Robin goes to the front desk and asks for anything for Jack Quinn, and he gets this paper. He gets this envelope. And he holds it, and he goes, maybe it's bank account numbers, or maybe it's access codes or whatever. And he's like, there is no bank accounts. They're fakes. They're frauds. But I'll pay you. He's still going to pay him somehow. And so they set up this operation where Rodman is dressed like... When Robin comes to rescue him, he calls him a carrot. He's got this orange, I don't know, but he's there. But they're both dressed up weird, like that, and like Van Damme has these weird poly shoulder, afro, Jerry Curl things going on. I don't know, and this is compromised when he sees his wife and decides to go after her because they're moving her, because for some reason. Mickey Rourke convinced Jack's wife that to help her with the pregnancy thing. I don't know how that happened, but how she wouldn't know who he is, I don't know. Was he giving her a fake name? I don't know. I'm trying to ask the questions. But Jack breaks their... there's a third party here. Is that the one that's working with Freeman's character? Because Freeman is tasked with going to get Jack. And his watch starts counting down 7 hours or 7 days or something like that. We're not really giving specifics to that either. And so they're forced to retreat. And they eventually get to the hospital. But it's too late. The baby's already been born. And Rourke has taken the baby. First of all, I call bullshit. You cannot take the baby out of the hospital after it was just been born. That's a no-no. It needs to stay in the hospital for a few days to get nutrients and stuff. You can't just take it out right away. You can't be like, Mickey Rourke can be like, oh, baby's born, I'm going. No. Even the hospital people wouldn't let him do that. That's very dangerous. You cannot do that. That could hurt the baby. No, you can't do that. That's one thing that crossed my mind is, how was he able to take the baby out of the hospital right away like that? Because it seemed like she had just given birth not too long before Van Damme found her. And then, so Van Damme and Rodman go to the Coliseum for one of the greatest climaxes in the history of action movies. My God. Now, up to this point, I thought this movie was okay. And it was when we got to this climax that I said this movie is fucking awesome. And I'll tell you why. So, first of all, Rodman lies a couple times in this. He said he'll stay behind with the wife, and Jack, or Van Damme, is going to go take care of Stavros. Okay, so Jack gets there and he has a conversation with Stavros, who's standing in the middle of the Coliseum, surrounded by crosses, with the baby in the middle. He has no shirt off, and he's smoking a cigarillo. Right? I think that's what those are called. It's the brown cigarette. And he tells them that there are mines. Basically, the mines are under the crosses. That's what he's trying to tell them, so he's got to be careful. So, then Rodman shows up. There's a tiger involved. The tiger comes swooping in. Rodman shows up on a motorcycle, comes running through, says the crosses are whatever. He goes to get the baby. He saves the baby, and he comes back. After he promises, and he comes back, and tries to help Jack by helping him fight, and he gets stuck on one of the mines. And there's no tension because he just fixes the pin and puts it back and steps off of it. It's like, what? Is it really that easy to stop a mine from going off? Because I don't think so. So, during the fight, it looks like Jack has stepped on one where the crosses are, and Van Damme, has stepped on a mine. Mickey Rourke starts to laugh it up, and then he steps on a mine, and Dennis Rodman says, oh yeah, I moved a couple of your crosses. Motherfucker, when? When did you move the crosses? They were never gone. There's a time they were fighting over on the side, but for him to do it that quick and move them around, not tell Jack, hey, I moved a couple crosses, so be careful, that makes no sense. But this is where we get to the greatest part. So Belloc, or Freeman, shows up, finds the baby. Van Damme and Rodman run to get the baby. It's not there because Freeman has him, and he shows them. All three of them, and the baby, mind you, run as Rourke is standing there. The tiger is running at him. He sees no other option but to lift his foot up as the tiger is going to eat him. The thing explodes. Van Damme, Rodman, and Freeman, and the baby are all running, and Dennis Rodman takes a Coca-Cola machine and puts it in the way of the explosion. And it stops the explosion from getting them. Whew! And they survive. Now, those of you who are talking about Indiana Jones and nuking the fridge, this happened first in 1997. 11 years before they nuked the fridge in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And after this, there's a quick bit where Freeman pulls a gun on Van Damme and says, give me a piece of your hair and your shirt. But Rodman just flips a coin and sort of blows him up, but not really because he's not dead. And Van Damme takes off with the baby, and Freeman, says, okay, everything's fine, and leaves. And Rodman is left at the burning. He goes, I'm going to probably take the blame for this. And it ends. And they get this rap song, which I think has Dennis Rodman singing it. I don't know. Whew. This is not going to get a 10. But by the end of this movie, I was saying this movie is fucking awesome. The explosion. Again, I must mention, Mickey Rourke standing on a landmine. As a tiger jumps to eat him, he lifts his foot up, explosion, and Dennis Rodman saves all three of them and the baby with a Coke machine. I'm going to give it at least an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed this movie. There were some parts, it's Van Damme. What can you not love about Van Damme? 8 out of 10 for me. So what are your thoughts on Double Team? Leave them in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. Look to Twitter for as soon as I'm done, as soon as this review is up, I'm going to tweet out a picture of my next review. So be looking for that. See you in the next one.